tuning in to this episode of On Air with Blair and this segment of Another Day Leveled Up as well. I'm sure we're going to use both. So, I introduced Miles. He's back. Glad to have him. Reintroduce him.
Glad to be back.
And last time we talked, Miles had his YouTube going on, Another Day Leveled Up, and he's made big progress with it. It's like coming, not quite, I wouldn't say full circle because it's still somewhat in its youth, but it's making big moves, and like, it's just a cool movement to watch grow, and I definitely say everybody should tap in with that. And, like, you'll definitely find something valuable from what he has to say in those YouTube videos.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, we're building together. We're in the shirt designed by Blair here, so yeah, the logo, everything's been designed by Blair. So follow Blair if you guys need designs, or just tune in the podcast as well.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the plug as well. But back getting on to the topic, psilocybins and mushrooms, shrooms. So as we know, like, we live in such a different world than our parents did growing up. We're a lot more open to like trying different stuff out, and like really we're more open to being like individuals and finding our own path. And part of that is experimenting with new activities and substances as well. And recently, psilocybin mushrooms have become decriminalized in multiple cities across the United States, being Denver, Oregon, the whole state, Santa Cruz, California, or Santa Clara, California. So Silicon Valley, shrooms are decriminalized as well as a couple other places in some other countries where they have them for like medical, and other countries also have them decriminalized as well.
Yeah.
So with that being said, there's obviously has to be some benefit in it for so many people to be using it, and especially in places like Silicon Valley, and especially like having people who have experienced a quote unquote trip or an experience with shrooms. I think it's good to just share with people how there are a lot of misconceptions. However, there are like there's a lot of value that can be found within that experience of shrooms. I think it'd be good for you to kind of explain that as well. I know that you experimented again, like this is legal, so it's like nothing bad. It's just such a different time that we're in.
Yeah, like it is decriminalized. Like, not one to preach and be like, "Yo, try psychedelics." I'm not here to advocate it, but it is beneficial if you could handle it. So I'd say, like, with it being decriminalized, is also people coming around that it is like the capabilities of people handling it is higher than people think. It's like it's considered a psychedelic and hallucinogen, but it still could be compared to weed in small doses. So it's like if you smoked enough weed, you'd probably have a crazy hallucinogenic like episode or something. But like same with shrooms, people can microdose shrooms and get like the small benefits of like just more focus, creativity. I have some friends that are in like psilocybin therapy who help people like go through traumas and get through depression. So it's all known for like great benefits, but in any type of like big dose, like not everyone could handle those types of doses. There's things like called like a heroic dose that people will take. Like there's what's his name? Terrence McKenna. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He's like one of the big names surrounding like mushrooms, and he talks about just like all his experiences and his heroic dose and things he's seen on there. Like he feels like he's encountered other beings, and but it's all been beneficial for him. He said like he's no longer like alive anymore, but he has a lot of talks on YouTube and just a lot of quotes that I really like that stand out from him as well. So yeah, like I said, I'm not one to advocate for it, but it's like if you feel that you could handle some psychedelic shrooms would be a good start, and go to a city that's decriminalized if you're scared about the
Yeah.
repercussions. But it's like you gotta
Yeah.
do what you gotta do.
You know, because like this is America, bro. Like
Yeah, I'm like,
things everywhere. So.
we're living in 2021. Like, like this is already starting off at a crazy start. So like, I'm sure you could find some anywhere, somewhere, and like it could probably help you actually manage all the crazy shit you're seeing too. So
yeah, man.
I recommend it on that aspect.
For real. I was gonna say the therapy that you had mentioned, like that's a real thing, bro. Like a lot of people are using shrooms like an antidepressant or like the
Yeah,
anxiety, and like especially in Oregon, you know, they are actually like regulating those kind of those studies to see like the actual like how it actually affects the brain, and they're getting like a bit deeper into it. You know, I'm not gonna say like in terms of like pharmaceuticals and whatnot. I'm sure that's along the way,
yeah,
but you know, at the same time, it's like people like this last year, 2020 showed like how many flaws there are within the healthcare system, especially within Western medicine.
yeah,
Like psilocybin shrooms, you know, they've been within history for so long. You know, there's been so many stories and tales about them. Like even going with like the stoned ape theory, where
yeah. It's crazy.
like men or like man got their consciousness from shrooms, and like it's so interesting. Like similar to how weed is, you know, how it's been a part of our essentially like kind of our chemistry for so long. Like I haven't heard of, you know, somebody dying from shrooms. You know, they may have like a very like a mental break, you know, where
Yeah,
they actually like kind of like overdose, you know.
yeah,
But at the same time, you know, the benefits are real, and I can kind of speak on this from my experience because, you know,
yeah,
like we can't really talk about it unless we experienced it.
yeah,
And I would say like, you know, I didn't have a good experience in school. Then once I got out of school, I'm like, all right, let me figure out like what I actually like. You know, part of it, like just experiencing and just like experiencing the life that I had in those 3 years.
yeah.
Uh, that was one of the substances that, well, not even going to say substances, one of the things that I tried. And it was like a very enlightening experience. And when I say enlightening, it's like you can focus in a sense. Like you can really separate your external and internal more. Like
Yeah,
that internal monologue in your head isn't, it's like, I can't say it's at peace, but it's just like clear. And I that's of course my experience, and it's like a small amount. I've never like taken a full quote unquote dose of like an eighth or
yeah,
of shrooms, but like I've taken like a small amount, and I'd say like your mood, like physically, is better. Like you're happier. You can concentrate more. Like y'all, like you really have no worries. Then
it's true.
I like it's weird because, you know, people are like, yeah, it just sounds like a drug, but it's like, no, you can function on it. Like I work out, like I'll be on my
Yeah,
computer. It'll help with creativity. Like I play basketball. Like, and when I play basketball on terms, you know, I feel like I'm in the zone a little bit more. You know, I feel like my performance is a little bit better, and it's super strange.
it's wild.
I'm pretty sure that uh, Joe Rogan. I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan had said one of the fighters, like UFC fighters, would microdose before
Yeah,
fights, and like he was like really good, and it was kind
it's
of like
true.
a performance enhancement. Because if you think about it, and like, using it in nature, say for instance, you're with like a tribe, and you like have to go hunt, like it helps with like your vision, and it helps your smell. Like your senses are a bit heightened, and you know, you have
Yeah,
more than just like those five senses. You know, you have the sense of like temperature, so you can tell when the temperature changes, and uh, there's something about like you have like a spatial sense. So
Yeah.
like even with your eyes closed, you can like almost tell when you're like getting near something.
No, for sure.
So it's stuff like that. It's just like very interesting. And I was wondering like if you had any experiences like with small amounts, like how they compared, just like with your own life. Like, did you see anything different? And if so, like to what extent?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember my first like uh experience with shrooms was, it's like right out of college kind of. I was like kind of like 21, 22,
Yeah,
and I'm with some friends, and like uh we go to this dude's place, one of my friend's place, one of my friend's place, and he had this bag of shrooms, which at that time I was like I only need one. Like I don't need, he was like, grab a whatever you want out of the Ziploc bag. It's like, I'm only gonna grab one. Like, so just that was more than enough, because it was the first time I ever did a psychedelic at that time. So uh, that day we just started to walk across campus. It was like a little night, like dark at the time, and music was just like the best thing on it. Like my friend had this like speaker that it lit up and everything to the sounds. So like we just sat there like watching it, just like amazed. But
yeah,
all of us were having a good time, but there was one of us in the group that just wasn't really feeling it, and she went off into like her own room and pretty much contemplated life, but also like allowed it to get to her. Like she was worried about school, that she wasn't going to pass the test and all this, even though she was doing great. But
yeah,
she allowed like the introspection to go like too deep, and her not handle it, and it the shroom trip take her over rather than she like try to control it herself. But it was definitely beneficial, and I've done it many times after in small doses, just to like heighten some experiences of like music shows, or if I'm just at home chilling and want to like go deeper into a thought or contemplate on something, I made schedule a timeout during the month or something to do it.
mhm,
uh, but yeah, it's beneficial. Like so many people credit it to their success. Like I didn't know, my friend told me Mike Tyson credit
yeah,
shrooms for him going back to fight this past couple months. Like he
yeah.
started training again. I'm like, what?
That may have been Mike Tyson who had mentioned that. I know it was a fighter, but yeah, I recall that.
It's wild. And it's like, I feel like shrooms pretty much like checks you. Like people don't realize, like sometimes people, that the reason it's like therapeutic is because it checks you. It like brings up all the underlying things that you may be like sweeping under the rug, and it pretty much brings that broom out
Mhm.
and just like gets you your life in order. It just like sweeps up all the things you've been putting off, and you're just like forced to like come to grips like, damn, I guess that is how I should probably see things. And like
Exactly.
my friend, one of my best friends, um, he was diagnosed with cancer, unfortunately, 2 years ago. And before that even happened, he told me that he credits shrooms to pretty much telling him he needed to go check, that he felt like something was wrong. So it's crazy that I feel like shrooms is like almost like an ally. They call them like golden teachers.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a term for like, I guess, a special strain of shrooms, like teachers or something. But everyone that talks about shrooms, it's all in like beneficial, and it aids them in being more healthy or more spiritual, or helps them in some way. And they say like even like all the heroes like in the Bible and things like that, they may have had pretty much some instances with shrooms. Like, and you see it crazy like in the religious art. You'll see in like the stained glass and everything that there's little shrooms, and like there's like Jesus like on these like walls, and there's like little shrooms painted. I'm like, what? Like why would it, why would you need to incorporate a mushroom on that stained glass, or that religious art. So it's like, I feel like some people are able to dive deeper into spirituality as well with it as well. And I feel myself, I've gotten deeper with my own spiritual journey with shrooms as well. So with all that said, I still like, you could still have to be careful with it. Like you could take a too much of a dose, and if you don't know what you're doing, you might be like scared and allow yourself to, because reality shifts. Like you said, you could see things when your eyes are closed. So like some people aren't used to like just being able to even fathom that. So like if they're not ready mentally, like a bad trip is basically just you not knowing how to handle like what is happening. It's like, it's not like it's like some dark force that's coming to take you over. It's just like, no, you just allowed your mental to go off the deep end and like entertain those bad thoughts. Like you can't entertain those bad thoughts.
Exactly, because that's pretty interesting that you say like entertain those bad thoughts, because it's really like that's like you really like entertain like your own life in a sense. Like everything you really do is like you can correlate it to something like within your life, like whether it be like within yourself or like those around you. Like I feel like there's always like a cause and effect with everything, and like those bad trips are caused by like a lack within yourself. It's not like you just have a bad trip. It's like no, there's something going on. Like people don't just have bad trips, you know. Like that's something that I feel like isn't necessarily like once you're in it, like it's easy to get out if like you're cool. Like you just have to be cool with yourself and like almost like recognize like, oh well, you know, I decided to do this. Like I'm not like gonna allow this to happen. And even if like it does, you know, you have to be at peace with knowing like, oh, like regardless, like I made this decision and like I have to deal with it, you know? Like
are you gonna run from it while you're on the trip?
Like you can't you know, I guess that may be deeper, like speaking on like how we think and like obviously like I can say that both me and you don't think like the average person, bro. Like we know a lot of stuff is in our control. Like your thing is like your whole brand is called Another Day Leveled Up because you know like you can level up literally within like within yourself. So yeah, from there, man. Like I was I was meant to say something else about like bad trips, but like I haven't had one to say like to really.
I can't say I've had either. Like the only time like I may have experienced a bad trip was like that I would consider a bad trip is just like I took too much and I wasn't aware of how much I took. And it's not that it was a bad trip. I just was like unfamiliar, and I was like, I caught off guard. And I was like, oh damn, like, but I still got myself together. Like, it's not like I was calling for help, like, while the trip was going on. But not everyone could say the same. That's the thing. Like, I wouldn't say like, when it comes to psychedelics, that people that to do like the internal work first before like I would say like you're gonna get the experience that you're ready for. If you could be like, I'm down to take them, but I would never force anyone. Be like, you need them now. It's like, unless they want to do it on their own, like, if you force them, they're gonna have a bad trip because they're just gonna be looking at you like, what's going on? You better not let me like go to. And it's like, I can't do anything for you. This is all in your head. Exactly. So like, unless you are mentally stable, I'm like, sorry, but maybe just read some books, meditate first, and do your research. Like anything I do, like I do the research on it. Like anytime I did before I did both, I've done both psychedelics with shrooms and acid before. And before I've done them, I've done like months of research before. So like I knew going in what to expect, and I wasn't scared. Like, but you could only do so much of your research until like you still had to experience it. Like
Exactly.
say like on my channel, like a belief may be comforting, but only the true experience could be liberating. So you could read all you want, but until you experience it, like you can't even really talk about it.
Yeah.
Or really know the benefits.
Exactly.
Take that leap.
Yeah, and it's like this conversation is just reminding me of like life, like our perception of life. Like I wouldn't say like this is like, I guess I have to explain why first this reminds me of life, because what we've explained is how like we've learned about ourselves, like we've learned like how to act in certain situations, like whenever we are in like certain vibes, like
Yeah.
that trip, or just in general being happy or being mad or being sad, like we know like how to navigate and almost like find our chill, so like we aren't overwhelmed in excitement at times, or like we aren't dwelling in like sadness or like anger. Like I feel like me and you both can kind of recognize like, oh, okay, like I'm getting a little bit like,
Yeah, you gotta be like real sensitive to energy. I feel like you definitely are like you've been like always like the, how would I say, like lone wolf type. Like I'd say myself was the same. Like, but when you are like kind of like a lone wolf, like you are that way because you notice that you like, I just don't like their vibes. I don't like the literal vibration of some people that I'm around. So you're like, I'd rather just do things on myself,
mm-hmm.
like by myself and retreat home. But like that's why I feel like we're both able to handle psychedelics, is like we know ourselves so much that we've spent so much time alone that like
Yeah,
we're like, well, I got me, like I've always got
exactly.
me. So I'm
Me.
like this drug ain't gonna like mess me up. Like I don't have any, sometimes you don't even have anyone to call on, so that also strengthens you too, to be like, yeah, I have to overcome whatever is going on internally. So this drug, I'll use it as my benefit. Some people will allow it to be their downfall, but like it's crazy that some people could use it and get lost with it, with like this like music festivals and the whole like culture.
Yeah,
It could go far left, but it's like there has to be a middle ground. Like when it comes to psychedelics, I would never say like your prime environment is a concert or something. So like
yeah,
there's too much stimulus going on. Like
mm-hmm.
all your senses are heightened. So if you are someone who is like real sensitive to energy, like you'll be overwhelmed, like
Mm-hmm.
and freak out. You'll have a bad trip because you're just like, what's going on?
Yeah,
But I don't know.
like
It's crazy.
yeah, definitely feel that, man. And that's interesting that you say that about like the concerts and whatnot, because like I think because of the term drug, you know, drug just like
Yeah.
that kind of has like a irresponsible a
Yeah.
connotation with it, like, oh, you do drugs.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't even sound like right. And
No.
I think we're getting away from that. You know, they're calling weed cannabis. You know, you'd never call it cannabis like 10 years
Yeah, the
ago.
fact that they could call shrooms psilocybin now, they're like, oh, they're getting real technical with it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, dude, it's like, I don't know, it takes time, but even then, it's like not everyone even smokes weed that it's not legal. Not everyone will do shrooms that it's legal. And I don't know, who's to say like if they start, I mean, there's already people who try to engineer their own strains of shroom and stuff, but like
Really? Yeah, I
it's
believe it.
crazy on that side. So like you don't want to, just with weed, you gotta be careful if someone's like trying to sell it to you from like a shop or something, because it's like it's a natural thing, just like weed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but weed could be taken too far as well, like engineered to be too strong, and like it's
Mm-hmm.
like why are we even smoking this if it's like you can't even talk after, like what do they call, like what is it, Cat Williams, like what is this, death? We're smoking death. It's like, so there's no need to make weed stronger, there's no need to make shrooms stronger either. So it's like just
it's like it's natural, man. Like
yeah, like it's up to you on how much you want to take, but there's no need to like enhance nature.
yeah, and that's like another great segue is enhancement and like kind of evolution and ascending. I talked to, man, I will always mention Chase, bro. This is my dog. But Chase was talking about how he's always like trying to progress and evolve, like even as like since he was a young age, he's always trying to learn something and like get to the next stage and level. And like side note, he was saying how I told him how like I feel like I'm the same, bro. Like I've been the same since I was 8. Like I haven't changed. Like what's going on in my head, like how I think, it hasn't changed. Like obviously it's matured because like I have experience to like build on those kind of like processes of how I think. But
Yeah,
like I feel like I'm still that 8-year-old Blair,
I
just
feel that.
like doing the same thing I was doing when I was 8, just like to a different degree and a different level. And like with that being said, it's like we have like made progress. People always want to make progress, and like people always want to elevate themselves, and that's similar to like what we see now with like drugs. Like I
Yeah.
guess it's kind of like human nature, bro. Like, have you seen? Well, I guess I want to ask you if you've seen the movie Soul, but the movie Soul like really
Oh
puts
yeah.
it in like, perspective, like how um Soul enters the cat, and he goes, "Ooh, like I'm mad. I want to scratch that couch." He's like, "Wait, that's my couch." It's like, why would I think that? And it's like it's just in a cat's nature to like scratch. It's like certain things, like how a dog sniffs stuff. Like it's in its nature to sniff. It's in our
Yeah.
human nature to want more. Like there's never like regardless of it is like whatever it is, people always want more. Like they always want to
Yeah.
attain more. They always want to be more. Like
Sure.
even after death, like they want to make sure there's more than what this life is. Like people are not
That's
content with just death. Like
that's
there's
true.
never been a time where people are just like, I don't want more. And even if they do want, they can't say that about everything. They will always want more of something.
Yeah.
And like I think it's interesting that like shrooms, like it kind of fits right into that. How you said like they're making them more potent. However, it's like that is already like an experience of more. Like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. They to go on that, like people wanted more, and like with shrooms and psychedelics, like some people don't know when it's ever enough. And
Mhm.
I think Alan Watts says he sees psychedelics as like one looking through a microscope. Like when you're on psychedelics, it's like you're looking at the world through a microscope. So you're able to see like things you may not see. But
Mhm.
he's like, but how long do you keep your eye on the microscope before you take it back and like actually apply what you see in the microscope? So it's kind of back to the movie Soul. It's like he went through all of that, and then at the end, spoiler alert if no one's seen it, but like you just realize like life is, the meaning of life is just to like live life. Like he was not satisfied. He wanted
Yeah.
to like be the best musician, and like they're like, all right. Once he like got on stage and killed it, she's like, come back tomorrow. It's like, wait, that's it? Like
Yeah. Exactly.
I thought there was more. He's just like, I got a lot to learn. Like this is just what we do.
Yeah.
It's like it's sometimes hard to. That is our nature, and like I feel society plays on that.
Mhm.
Like
Definitely.
that's why everyone's so dissatisfied. That's why we're all, majority of people are depressed. They're on social media. They got FOMO if they don't check their phone. Like you get notifications all the time. Like you'll check your phone without even seeing a notification
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
it's like
Oh,
it's you
criminality.
never, yeah, you never get enough. So it's like I think what um, I'd say the benefits of psychedelics, if you're doing them the right way, and shrooms, is like you realize like you have enough. Like when you're having a trip, like you're just at like the ultimate bliss, like the ultimate like height of where you're like, I don't need nothing. I'm just chilling. Like, and you like some people do it, continue to do it to always like get back to that place to feel good. To be like, I just want to get that high again.
That
But it's like,
euphoria.
yeah. But if you're if you are using it, like there's a term called like psychonaut, and it's about like just basically what it means. It's like an astronaut, but in your psyche. Like you're just trying to just figure out how your mind works, and it's crazy. I'd say I'm the same way as a kid too. Like you said yourself, there was a video game I played like on PlayStation back then called Psychonauts, and it was crazy, dude. It was like, I don't know, like the person who made the game had to know, like, or took some psychedelics, but it was basically like the premise was this kid who went to this camp and realized all the teachers were these like big psychonauts and they had like telekinesis and all these crazy powers, and your character you were playing was like learning these powers, but he was a psychonaut. And I was like, damn, I played games like that when I was a kid. Like,
Yeah.
I've always had that like want to know as well, but
Man,
like
got it, bro. Like, I was going through some of my old notes from elementary school, man, and like some of the sketches from like third grade, bro. Like with science class, they weren't like that great, but like just you could see like this kid wanted to learn. Like this kid really like, wanted to like be something. And
yeah,
like old projects I did where like in Texas, like I think it was like U.S. history class. We'd have to make like diaries, or not like the project was make like a diary, but it was based like a historical fiction.
yeah,
So I had like I would say like 12 pages with like maps and everything. Like the outside was like a fur cover. Like I'd burn the edges, like soak the paper in like coffee to make it look old and aged. And I was like, dang, dude, I was 9 years old, bro. like,
yeah,
like it's crazy to think like that's not like that's kind of like a big feat. Like I don't know. That's something like I can say like I'm proud of because I'm not
yeah,
doing stuff like much different than that. Like
yeah,
I'm still writing stories. Like I still care about like my presentation. Like make sure that it's a cohesive like composition. And
yeah,
it's like it's cool when you find out like, oh, I'm not that different. Like I'm still like that kid is still in me. Like
yeah,
everybody, I can't say everybody, but like to some extent, people really like there's this playfulness within children that like everybody loved, you know, like this innocence that like it was it's just joy. And I
yeah,
think once people can recognize and find that they aren't too far away from that, and if they are, like kind of coming back to that, they'll be a lot more at peace and aware. And I think that's something I may have not been able to like realize if I hadn't tripped. And I'm
true.
like I may not again like this is something I'm kind of coming to the conclusion to now, but like I know I didn't necessarily like think of that until after that experience, you know. And this was like months ago. Um, but and it's like even just like with that small amount, bro, and I'm not like telling people, yeah, like all right,
Yeah,
as soon as you listen to this,
you
like, go
you'll
find some,
probably be pumped as hell to try to
yeah.
find some after this, but yeah,
But like no, on some like just on some real shit, like people should just be open and just know yourself. Like that's the whole point of this. It's like
yeah. The
just know
shrooms,
yourself.
it's about introspective journey.
Yeah. And let's see. I'm looking for a question to ask you now. I can't think of anything like off the top pertaining this. But what I guess in what ways would you say like I wouldn't say like reality has shifted, but like your perspective? Because with what I said, like my perspective like really changed
Yeah,
when I came to that realization. And so I'd say like would you say your perspective shift at all, or like I wouldn't say like
yeah,
permanently, but after you know to some extent, like to like what would you
yeah.
say?
I'd say like to like pretty much go on what you're saying, but with the kid type of mentality, like I'm sure you as well, like always felt like there was underlying thing going on behind like reality. And like with shrooms, like you almost get that confirmation, or psychedelics, like that LSD, you get that like confirmation, like damn, like life is pretty magical. Like I would sit at home in my room thinking about, and like it almost pumps you up, like to be like, damn, like this place is magical. I can make what I want in this life. Like there is vibration, there is like energy, and I should want to know how those things work. Like that's what we all do. It's like a lot of people, I wouldn't say everyone, but like I feel like we both like to know like just how things work, even with ourselves. Like starts with ourselves. We love psychology, love spirituality, and then I still like to know how like systems of other things work. Like I would take remotes apart. I would build toys when I was younger. Like I always wanted to just know like how does this work? And like it just goes hand in hand with just like reality. Like I will always be on a continuous search of seeing how the reality that I'm living in works, and how I could maneuver through it in a way that helps myself and people around me. Because it's like once you master yourself, you can master the world around you, because you are part of the world. So it's like the inner reality creates the outer reality. Maybe getting a little too deep for some people, but this is what it is. Like you learn all this like when you're just having your introspective journeys alone. But I'd say when it comes to the doses as well, like if you do take part in like shrooms or psychedelic, like the biggest leaps you'll have is when you do them alone. Like it's one thing to do with friends, but it's like it's not meant for that. Like you want to be at a point mentally that you can handle it, a psychedelic alone, because you'll grow so much more if you can just like be cool with yourself. Create a little playlist for you and chill at home and like write down some things, like have fun with knowing yourself and like knowing that you're gonna come out of it a better person, because that's the whole world operates better when we're like operating at our fullest potential. So I think everyone's goal, it should be to like master themselves and level up so that they're able to help themselves, their friends, their family, the world in the grand scheme of things, by them figuring themselves out. Like that's all it's about.
Because man, that's perfect, bro. Like for real. Because dude, I'm telling you, like I it's pretty little bit transitioning a little bit off of that, but like I've had the opportunity to like be in the house with my dad, and like I asked him like, why do people like conflict? Like do people like conflict? Like it seemed like, why do people like conflict? And he told me, he's like, people, supposedly nobody likes conflict, and this is like during the time, like obviously the political climate, and he's like, bro, like he's this old black dude, so like he doesn't like Trump, from Chicago. And Sunday morning, like I don't know why, like Sunday isn't necessarily like a Sabbath day, but like it's the start of the week, so like I always try to start the week out good, Sunday and Monday. And Sunday morning, the first thing he does is turn it on the Fox News, like the most conflicting like perspective and viewpoint. And I was like, that just confirms like people, to some extent, people really do enjoy conflict. And
that's true,
like now I can say like everybody enjoys conflict. Like what a movie is, any story, there's a conflict and a resolution. People may not like the conflict, but like they enjoy the resolution, and the conflict is just like the thrill along the way. And
the news are master storytellers.
But life really, like, and what I wanted to say is like my father was a guru in that lesson of conflict, as well as shrooms can be a guru in lessons about yourself. And like that's really like all I have to all I really had to say about that. But
I feel that, like, I definitely agree on that standpoint. Like, if you don't have like a teacher, sometimes that's your best teacher you could come across, is like nature's teacher. It is nature at the end of the day. It's like,
mm,
it's nothing foreign. Like,
just
you've just
yeah,
been sold the belief that you shouldn't be doing it because the people that are telling you not to do it benefit in your ignorance to how reality works. So think about that. If you have a certain view upon a psychedelic or something like that, there's always a reason some things are decriminalized and things
yeah,
or criminalized.
definitely, without a doubt, man. And really quick, I can speak on my experience with microdosing.
Yeah.
And I was talking a bit. I'll ask you a question right after this. But so we actually had a coworker who microdosed, and I used his technique of, um, you know, actually, my technique was a little bit different. So there's obviously multiple ways to do it,
Did
but
you blend it up, or like, how'd
I,
you
I just
measure
eat
it
it.
out? Okay.
Uh, I just eat it. I eat about close to like a half gram, and like you can like you'll feel it in your gut. Like for me personally, I'd feel it in my gut, and like you know, once you feel that level, it's like you kind of can gauge like how much, like
Yeah.
how intense the trip will be, and it'll always get to that point where it's like, okay, all right, now cool.
Yeah.
And like I'll do that, and I'll just work as much as I can, and the next 4 days I'll go off, because obviously you have to let yourself, like your
Yeah.
um
Calibrate.
yeah, all your chemicals and whatnot get back down to their baseline.
Yeah.
But like those last 2 days of it are the best. Like I wouldn't say the first 2 days are good, but like the last 2 days where it's like you can reflect. I call them like those reflection days, and like put into action.
So you
Not all-
microdose for 4 days and then you stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say like the days that followed are the best. Sorry, I don't know. But damn, I apologize. I
You're
can't.
good.
I don't know where you went. Am I still on? There we
Yeah,
are.
you're good. Just got you.
But yeah, like the last 2 days, um, you aren't tripping. Obviously, like your trip doesn't last like through multiple days, but
Yeah.
like it's like if you were to take a drug test, it's not out of your system.
Yeah.
And I, I don't know. I forgot where I was going with that, Miles. I forgot where I was going with that,
Whenever you're
Miles.
saying like the benefits of the microdose or how you go about it, you said your
Yeah, pretty much
friend did
what I
it
know
as
about
well.
it. Yeah, then like I did it for a 4 week course, and I think during that 4 week course was when like I made the most progress in like projects, like in
Oh man.
productivity. Uh, and that kind of reminds me of like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs had knocked Bill Gates for never doing psychedelics,
Yeah, I
and
remember
like that's so crazy now to think like Silicon Valley, like pretty much you're there, you're doing like your
that.
microdose.
Yeah, they like, everyone there kind of considers Steve Jobs as like a god. So they're like, wait, what did he do? What did he? He only wears one shirt. All right, let me wear one shirt. So, you don't gotta do everything he does, but yeah, he had a reason for everything he did,
Yeah.
which is respectable.
What are your microdosing techniques for
Uh,
psilocybins or LSD?
yeah, I've tried them both, microdose levels and um, length of work that need to be done, and I'm not feeling like 100%. I would sometimes do like literally like a 1/10 of a dose, um, just to get my brain working in a way that I'm able to connect things and speak upon things that wouldn't in a tired state. And that's what happens in your brain, is like all the neural pathways in your brain like start to work together that they usually don't, but it's like almost like a small scale limitless pill, but you're like, let's get it. And like I get pumped, and yeah, you don't you don't need much. Like, you're not really too hungry. You just get things done, and it's beneficial. And I can see why people in Silicon Valley do it. Like, you get a leg up on your own tasks and duties, and you're just able to connect things that you wouldn't usually. Because when you're taking a full dose, you connect a lot. Like, you connect some deep shit that people don't contemplate upon, and then just like, so when you're microdosing, you're able just to like get down like the systems. They say if you're like coding or something, or like, you'll figure that shit out, because you're just like, this is not too hard of a task.
I feel that, bro. That's crazy. Cause damn, I'm gonna try that now. Cause I've been like practicing Japanese recently.
Oh shit,
And,
yeah.
like, my Japanese, I'm not gonna say it's solid, but like I can definitely read it a little bit and like pick up some stuff, like pick up a few words every now and then.
Yeah.
And that'll be very interesting to try learning a language and doing that. Like, that'll be a very good experiment.
That'd be interesting.
Kind of reminds me of babies. Like, I think I've seen what do they call them? Like a not an EMT. Like, what is electromagnetic machine where like it shows your brain.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I've seen like when it's on like psychedelics or psilocybins, like parts that aren't usually connected are connected, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like similar to like a baby's development, how babies can like just learn any language.
It's true. It keeps you in like a playful state too. Yeah.
Definitely. That'll be interesting to get back to everybody later. But,
yeah.
Miles, you have anything else that you want to share about like psilocybins, or just anything that you have going on? I feel like we've covered a bit about it. Like, I think we should be pretty solid.
Yeah, I'd say I think we got pretty deep on it. I think a lot of people could take a lot from the conversation and take what they feel resonate with them. But like,
for sure,
to close it out on the psychedelic or shroom talk, it's just like we said, we're not here preaching about like, you got to do it. It's just like, if you're curious, do your research, and then see if it benefits you, and if it does, allow it to progress you and help others as well. Because that's basically what it's here for. Like I said, it's from nature. It's here to teach you how to be a better human at the end of the day. If the stoned ape theory is correct, it helps apes figure out how to be better humans. So it's like, you just gotta like see it as a teaching type of thing, rather than a party drug. It's not nothing to turn up with.
Definitely.
That's for sure.
Man, I'm glad you said that. That's great. That's great, bro. And I appreciate you taking the time out every day to do this.
Yeah, dude. You as well.
And like, man, as always, bro, it's great talking to you.
So yeah, we got a lot. We're gonna be growing this together. Next time, we're gonna be even a lot further than we are today. And just pumped every time we do talk, because we're literally on the same wave. Like,
yeah, bro. It's
I remember when we first met, dude. I was like, "Something's up." Like, I know Blair is like, he's quiet, but like, I was the only one that you like pretty much started talking to, like, work together. And like, I knew just by the vibes. Like, you got to know how to trust these vibes, and it's been beneficial. I'm glad we became friends and working together, helping each other out. So like, just keep going forward.
Definitely. Much love, bro. And I can't wait to tap in with you again. And until next time.